Hello and welcome to Jessie James Beads. Today we're going to have a look at something that's really quite different. So we're going to make a basic box weave with chain mail. Now I first made this weave in 2012 and I haven't really gone much further with chain mail. So this is absolutely suitable for beginners. It makes a really beautiful chain which looks a little bit like a box. It's kind of square. And you can make short lengths for use in earrings, or you can make great big long necklaces if that is your desire. So I'm going to show you with some giant jump rings because it's much easier to show you that on the board than it is to show you with the tiny ones. Also, I just want to talk about jump rings for a second. When you open and close jump rings, there is a way to do it, and that is to treat it like two halves. Now, my pliers are built for normal sized jump rings, not these great big stunt ones. But what you do is imagine that opposite the cut, there's a hinge, and you only ever move half of the jump ring. Give it a bit of a wiggle and get it to line up so that it creates a smooth formed ring. If you open your jump rings and close them in a different way, they won't then be as strong or as beautifully round as you want them to be for this kind of jewellery. So I'm told that it's coming to Ren Fair season and chainmail is quite popular there. So I hope that you will give this a go. Now, the jump rings that I have used on the jewellery are 8mm outer diameter, and I've mixed silver and gold colourway because I just think it's really nice. You can do all sorts of fun things with chainmail designs. You can get very complex if you want, but this one I promise is a good easy way to start. Like I say, I first attempted it in 2012. Now I've got a bit of scrap aluminium wire here, and that is what I'm going to treat as my starting point. It just helps me to remember which way I'm working the weave. Now for today's video, I'm going to be opening and closing my super giant jump rings by hand. Just remember that you will need to do this with your sets of pliers, and they need to be flat facing pliers. So ideally 2 bent chain nose pliers or flat pliers, or even just tapered chain nose pliers. That's what you're going to need to make this effective and safe. So like I said, I've got a little bit of scrap wire, and onto that I'm going to add 2 closed jump rings. So I'm going to grab 2 of these silver colour giant jump rings. These are huge. And just close that little bit of wire up. Now you can use a piece of ribbon or a paper clip or anything like that just to hold those 2 rings in that starting position. I'm now going to add on 2 jump rings, and what I'm going to do is alternate in the same pattern as I did here, which means I'm going to use 4 jump rings of the first colour, which is going to be this silver colour, and then I'm going to use 4 jump rings of the green colourway. Now it does help if you get all of your jump rings open and ready to work with. So I'm just going to open a handful of those and just get them ready for us to work. As I said, I'm using my hands to open and close these jump rings today because otherwise all you'll be able to see is my pliers fighting each other and you won't be able to see the actual metal. So I've put 2 jump rings on. The first thing I'm going to show you is the world's simplest chainmail weave. So I'm going to put 1 jump ring through both of those at the start point and close that up. Just take a look over the top and make sure that it's closed neatly, that those 2 ends meet. Then I'm going to add another jump ring in exactly the same way. Now this goes through those number 1 jump rings, like so, and closes up. Now if you did nothing but this, you're still making a chain, and it's still technically chainmail jewellery. So this is called a 2 into 2, and I bet you can understand why. 2 jump rings into 2 jump rings, just connected exactly like so. Now I have got from my soldering pot a pair of reverse action tweezers. They're a bit black at the end because they have been used for soldering. The reason I use these is because I can grip some jump rings, put them down and walk away. Now you can also achieve this with a pair of pliers. Just slot them through, put them on the board, make sure that the cat won't upset your board, and you're fine to go away and leave it for a bit. Just wanted to explain what these little fellas were. So what we're going to do is I've got my starting point in my left hand, which is my non-dominant hand. What I'm going to do is flip this sideways. So the 2 starting jump rings are flat to the desk. The next 2 jump rings, the number 2 jump rings, I'm going to open them up a little bit like bunny ears, like so. I'm going to flip this upwards so I can see, and I'm just going to open up the two number 1 jump rings. So you can see the two number 2 jump rings are just flooping out to the side, like so. What I'm going to do is, you can see on the inside of those starter jump rings, you've got the inside of those number 2 jump rings. What I'm going to do is, you can use a plier, you can use a crochet hook, you can use a piece of wire, and I'm going to pick up the inside of those two number 2 jump rings. So I've just picked up the inside of those jump rings, and this is what I mean about these reverse action pliers. I can now put this down and walk away. Everything tends to collapse in this weave, and that's absolutely fine. So I've got my little box has started to be created, and I've now got those 2 jump rings connected, but from the bottom side. What you can do is to hold the assembly. It's a little different when you're holding small jump rings, because you just support it like so, and the box stays put. What I'm going to do is, I'm just going to put my thumbs inside like so. So I now can see the upper side of those 2 jump rings, that are the number 2 jump rings. I'm going to get the first of my green jump rings. These are the 3rd section, and I'm going to post that through and collect both of those jump rings that are sitting up. And if I just pull this tightly, you see that box forms back into position. So I'm quickly going to close this jump ring up like so. Make sure that those 2 ends are flush. And then I'm going to support that again. If it falls, it falls, it doesn't matter. I'm going to add in another jump ring through the exact same place. So sliding that through those 2 second sets and closing that up, making sure that your jump rings are nice and flush. If I grab hold of those 2 jump rings and just give it a little bit of a wiggle, that box reforms itself. So if I lay that down, you'll see we've started the chain. Once we've got those 2 green jump rings in, and this is the 3rd set, I'm going to grab now the 4th set. So for the pattern I've made here, I've done 2 sets in gold, 2 sets in silver, 2 sets in gold. You could graduate through all of the colours if you want to, or make it all the same colour. Absolutely up to you. So you've got these 2 number 3 jump rings just sticking out. They're not doing anything fancy. They've just been through the underside of the 2nd set of jump rings. Now you don't need to do anything else at this stage. Just hold those 2 number 3 jump rings. Take your number 4 jump ring through, and you can do them one at a time. Close that up, and again I urge you to use pliers for this. As I said before, I'm using my fingers because you wouldn't be able to see what was happening otherwise. So just hold on to that and get your 2nd number 4 jump ring through. Now they absolutely can all be the same colour. My preference is to work all in copper. So you've now got your 2nd set of coloured jump rings. This is the number 4 set. So you had one set which was a very plain, just a 2 into 2. I'm just going to give this a little bit of a twist to make it sit closed. What we're going to do now is the bunny ears manoeuvre again. So the rest of the chain is just in the palm of my non-dominant hand. Those rings are going out to the side, like bunny ears-ish. Then I'm going to use a pokey thing. You could use a crochet hook. Just realised that's not closed up. There. So the only really fancy coloured wire I had is aluminium. It's very soft. So I've separated the middle of the number 3 jump rings, and the number 4 jump rings are flopping out to the side. I'm going to find my pokey thing, and I'm going to capture the inside and the inside of those 2 number 4 jump rings. So they've kind of turned upside down now. Everything looks a bit terrible until you give that a gentle pull, and then you're starting to see the formation of that box. So if you want to leave your pokey thing in position, it makes it easier for you to bring in your number 5 pair of jump rings. So if I just lift this gently, you can see what we're going to do is follow the path of the pokey thing. So if I just support this little box carefully, we're looking at the underside of those number 4 jump rings, and I'm going to bring in the first of my number 5 jump ring and just capture that gap. Close everything up, and again this is aluminium, and just give that a little bit of a tease and it will sit to make the chain. So you're doing 2 different things repeatedly as long as you want the piece to be. So you can put that down if you want to. I'm going to get my next number 5 jump ring, which is an open jump ring. You can pick it all up again and follow the same path. So you're just grabbing this, which is your second number 5 jump ring, putting it through the space that you've already gone through in exactly the same way. You're not going through your silver coloured jump ring, your number 5. You're only going through the underside of those number 4 jump rings. Close that second jump ring up, and you've got that little 2 into 2 pattern. So that's really, really simple. Don't be tempted to do anything else at this stage. We're going to now add in our number 6 pair of jump rings. So straight through those simple 2 into 2 jump rings, close that one up. Let's get the second of that number 6 pairing all the way through the exact same place, close it up carefully. And this is the point at which we do the little bunny ears thingy. So we're going to hold the number 5 jump rings, separate out the number 6 jump rings, gently get in between those number 5 jump rings and collect the inside of those 2 previous, those number 5 jump rings, and pull them up. So I very much encourage you to have a pair of tweezers or a crochet hook or something like that to help you with this project. I'm just going to add in the last 2 of the coloured jump rings now. So let me just open these up. Again, please use your pliers. And what we're going to do, because we're on the first of our 2 different techniques, we're just going to support. If you don't want to support it, you don't want to let it go, hold the end of your pokey thing, follow the same path as the pokey thing, bring that first jump ring through. You can then close it up and get the pokey thing out of the way. Let's bring in that second jump ring, making sure that it follows the same path. So you can just pull that a little bit tight through the same gap and close it up. So you've got a simple pairing there, just a simple pair of 2 into 2 jump rings. Add in, I think these must be the number 8 jump rings now. First one is in, second one is in, and close that up. So when you do the second half of this box weave technique, you're going to hold on to the first part of the box weave technique, flip those bunny ears out, and then I'm going to find my pokey thing, just gently prise apart the middle of the first of those 2, the number 7s, pull them upwards to create that little box. And at this point what I would do is finish off with 2 silver ones and then connect that to whatever I'm going to connect it to. Now once you get the hang of the technique, and it will all collapse, that's absolutely fine, because when there's tension and weight on it, it forms a box, and the smaller the jump rings, the more likely the box is to be self-sustaining. When they're large, they're not really the right aspect ratio. So they need to be a certain thickness to kind of work with this design. These are 1mm thick and they are 8mm outer diameters. So I'm just going to finish off with 2 of the silver coloured ones. And that would just be a simple 2 into 2. So you can leave the pokey thing in if you feel the need to. Close that up. And then you can withdraw your pokey thing because you know you've got the jump ring. The final one in today's lesson is in position. Follow with the same path, close that up, and there you have your segment of box weave. Now I'm sure this has a particular name. I don't remember what the particular name is. I'm not a jump ring specialist. I'm not a chainmail artist. My lovely friend Fleur absolutely is. But this is a basic box weave that I strongly believe anyone can create with. So if you want to add a little weight to the bottom of your earring, I'm going to make a giant one now. What I will do is you can grab in your round nose, your bail makers. I'm going to grab in my memory wire finishing pliers, make sure the end is nice and flush cut. I'm going to make a small circular form down at the base. Flip over to my flat facing, in this case bent chain nose pliers, draw the wire all the way around. This is based on my birdwing technique. And then at a point in time, I'm just going to draw the wire away. I usually go for 2 full rotations. This is an aluminium craft wire. It's incredibly soft, but I'm using it because it matches in. So once you've got the wire coming away, I'm going to choose to create an angle and bring that wire all the way back down to the rounded form at the base. If you get a little wiggle in there, you'll probably be using copper. This is a very soft craft wire. What I'm going to do then is to pinch very firmly and bring that wire all the way around to chase. It's almost like a paper clip. Draw that wire up to the top of the design, a little bit like a bird's wing, and then bring that away in a straight line, just at the top of the design there. Now this is a heavier wire in terms of gauge. It's physically very light, so I'm not sure which of the beads are going to go on this. I suspect the glass pearls won't fit because it's a 1.25. They will not, so I'll just use some of the crystals and some of the spacers to give you an idea of how you can build up just a little stack and a little weight to add on to this design. Whoops, that's the wrong size. Here we go. So once you've added on whichever beads will fit on your wire, and like I said, this is a 1.25mm craft wire, so it's thicker than the wire I've used here. I'm just going to create a simple loop up at the top of this small stack. I'll use the 4mm side on my memory wire finishing pliers. You can use round nose or bail making pliers. Use the flush side of my cutters. Mind your fingers and mind your bead. Make sure that your loop is nice and strong and that it finishes back down at the exit point from that bead stack. I'm going to give it a squish to make it strong, and then in exactly the same way as you would open and close those jump rings, I'm going to tilt half of that up. And then once I've given this little mess of chain mail a bit of a tweak, it will fall into the correct box formation. And once it has that counterweight on, it will hang beautifully. And if you're working with much smaller, chunky jump rings, like I say, they're 1mm thick, then that will be a nice self-supporting box. The reason it's not fully stable here is because these are the wrong size in terms of their thickness to work. So there you have your little segment of chainmail. But I urge you to look at this one instead, because this one is self-supporting. It's very pretty. These are jump rings in silver and gold. They are 1mm thick and their outer diameter is 8mm. I'm using this gorgeous crystal collection from Jessie James Beads. That's a real brief and simple introduction to chainmail. If you don't fancy doing that, just linking 2 jump rings into 2 jump rings into 2 jump rings and graduating through colours is still chainmail. It's just a nice, simple 2 into 2. I hope that you've enjoyed today's Jessie James Beads tutorial. Thanks for watching.